What's better than keeping a secret? How about having one person you know it too? That way you can rest assured that the secret lives on, even if one of you drops dead. Also, you can whisper to each other and giggle like a couple of schoolgirls with sacred knowledge that no one else around you may ever find out. And hey, isn't being like a couple of schoolgirls like the whole point of living in this world? So without further ado, here are the top 10 secrets only 2 people in the world know about.
Amazing!
Number 10. The Listerine Formula. Invented by Dr. J.J. Lawrence and sold to Unilever in 1880, the famous mouthwash brand Listerine has no doubt been a huge convenience to many people too lazy to actually brush their teeth. And until 1970, even Unilever didn't know what kind of oral magic Dr. Lawrence performed to create that minty brew for Listerine. When Unilever found out about the secret, though, they went ballistic to know that the secret formula the good doctor used was an ordinary household item, which led to lawsuits that eventually ended in favour of the mouthwash's inventor. To this day, however, only the Lawrence estate and Unilever are the only ones to know what the secret ingredient is. Number 9. The Habsburg Napkin Fold. Nothing says fine dining like an intricately folded napkin on your plate, which you'll then unfurl to place on your lap so that whatever morsel of food that happens to miss your greasy pie hole because of your excited shaky hands won't ruin your brand new ripped jean shorts. And if there's one technique that could be considered as the napkin fold of all napkin folds, it's the Habsburg napkin fold. It's such a valuable treasure of Austria that only 2 government employees, most likely ones working in the kitchen, have the knowledge of how to make it, which they then pass on to the next generation of employees once they retire. Does that sound ridiculous? Well, we'll see who's laughing when the napkin gods rain doom upon humanity, and the only ones who can save us are the Frodo and Sam of napkin folding. Number 8. Oliver Cromwell's head. Oliver Cromwell is a very divisive figure in history. On one hand, he's considered a kingslayer, but on the other, he's a liberator from tyrannical oppression. And since we're on the topic of kingslaying, you could think of him as Jaime Lannister, without the gorgeous flowing hair and sister boning. And just like a scene from Game of Thrones, he, or at least his body, met a rather gruesome end. After dying of what is probably a urinary infection, his body was exhumed, hung, drawn, and quartered, which is a fancy way of saying people hacked his freshly laid corpse to pieces. Somehow though, his severed head got lost along the way, which has since been cause for speculation as to its whereabouts for centuries to come. In the 1960s though, its location has been narrowed down to Sydney Sussex College, where 2 professors are reported to know exactly where it is. The problem is they won't tell anyone about it. Why not? Who knows? Maybe they don't think we're revolutionary enough, like good old Ollie. Number 7. Academy Awards results. The Academy Awards is so prestigious and sought after that Leonardo DiCaprio himself had to fight a goddamn bear to win one, and a fully grown one at that. This is partly the reason why the winning nominees are only given to 2 representatives of PricewaterhouseCoopers, the company responsible for counting the votes by hand for each category, 2 days before the ceremony. It might seem like overkill for an award reserved for motion pictures, but you might understand the precaution when you consider it's a career-making or breaking recognition in a multi-billion-dollar industry where a single upset victory could cost the studio tons of money. Either that, or they're just afraid that Kanye West will go full Kanye again if he finds out early that the actor he's been backing didn't win. Number 6. Oyapenko. South America is home to a large amount of secrets that may forever be lost to history because of conquest, from their apocalyptic calendars to giant stone heads and their casual ritual massacres of old. It's a subcontinent that will always be exotic to some extent. In this case, we have Oyapenko, a Mexican language dating back to pre-colonial days that is on the brink of extinction. That is, unless the only 2 people alive right now will be willing to share it with others. But hey, maybe they have a point in keeping the secret. You can't expect someone to help you after you pillaged their land and systematically eliminated their culture. Number 5. Sea monkeys. Do you guys remember sea monkeys? They're those little pets you may have ordered from the mail after reading it on an ad from a comic book. And boy were those things a letdown. First, they didn't look like monkeys at all, and second, their lifespan isn't even that long. Regardless though, it's pretty impressive to find out that somewhere, someone out there, knew how to place these little critters in stasis long enough to be packaged and sent straight to your doorstep. It's probably why its inventor and sea monkey mogul Harold von Braunhut kept the sea monkey preservation technique a closely guarded secret, only sharing it with his wife Yolanda until the end. Number 4. The Berglas effect. Illusionists deal in secrets. That's how they keep their business going, so it's no surprise that magicians and trick performers keep their secrets and performance methods close to the chest, lest some other unscrupulous competitor finds out about it. Come on, we've all seen what happens in The Prestige, right? But if there is one trick that not even the most skilled magicians can pull off, it's the Berglas effect. It's basically a card trick in which the magician hands a deck of cards to a volunteer, and then makes you, the mark, name any card from the deck. Then, to make it practically impossible for him to get the right card, the magician then asks another volunteer to name a specific position within the deck, after which the number of cards specified by the volunteer will be counted down, only to reveal that your card is at the volunteer's chosen position. It might seem simple, but only 2 tricksters can pull it off: Dave Berglas, the guy who invented it, and his protege, Mark Paul. Actually, scrap that, I know how it's done too. What he really does is travels ahead in time, learns the cards you will eventually choose and the position number the volunteer chose, and then he goes back in time and simply prepares the deck. Simple physics really. Number 3. KFC's 11 herbs and spices. If there's one thing the Colonel won't shut up about, it's the 11 herbs and spices he puts in his fried chicken that gives it its finger-licking goodness. And we have to give it to him. KFC is one of the largest food chains in the world, mainly because of the way they prepare their fried chicken, and like any other trade secret, the 11 herbs and spices are so well kept that only 2 members from their top brass know what they are. Understandable really, considering the whole company can go under if it fell in the wrong hands. In fact, the secret spices are so hidden that some people don't even believe they exist. Non-believers think it's just salt and pepper, and the rest is just a lie. There was even a report in 2016 about Colonel Sanders' nephew leaking the secret by accident after finding it scribbled on the late Colonel's wife's last will and testament, but the company dismissed the recipe as inauthentic in the end. Number 2. The subject of Carly Simon's You're So Vain. This is considered one of the best songs of all time, and it's been the subject of many a fan theory ever since its release, ranging from Mick Jagger to Warren Beatty. Despite being incessantly asked about who Miss Simon was talking about in the song, the singer won't budge. Unless, of course, you have $50,000 to spare, just like NBC head and Dick Ebersol, who acquired the privilege in an auction in 2003. To this day, we can only guess who walked into a party like he or she was walking on a yacht. And don't count on Dick Eberson either, since he had to sign an NDA to keep the much sought after secret. All he can say is the name has the letter E in it. I'm betting it's Will Ferrell. Number 1. Chartreuse. This French liqueur is made with a number of herbs that makes KFC's spices look like child's play. Chartreuse uses 130 of them, to be exact, and each one of it is a secret known only by 2 monks at a time that belong to the Order of Grand Chartreuse Monastery. Well, 3 actually, if you count God, but he doesn't really fall within the people category now, does he? In fact, Chartreuse's recipe has become such a mythic figure in the history of wines and spirits that it's also been known as an elixir that prolongs life. Because when you think about it, the best way to get sloshed is to get sloshed in the name of the Lord. So there you have it, the top 10 secrets only 2 people know about. Got any that we haven't mentioned in this video? Share them in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please drop it a like. Also, remember to subscribe and click that bell icon to be notified of any future videos. Thanks for watching.